Hi, and thanks for joining me in this afternoon lunchtime series. I'm coming to you live from my office at Moksha Living, and today I wanted to do a little bit of a talk on how we can reinvest in our commitments. And what makes me know that commitments are so important is because when we don't have commitments, we have things like infidelity happen and in our relationship. And infidelity is actually one of the biggest causes for a relationship or a marriage ending, which is understandable. You know, your intimate relationship is a unique relationship in that you are probably having a physical or sexual relationship with that person. Hey, Oliver, thanks for joining me. And so it would make sense that you would not want that one person that you have a sexual, intimate relationship with to have sex with another person, because then that violates the understanding and the agreement and the sanctity of the relationship that you have with that person. And, you know, I know that there's relationships that don't have that agreement, but for the purpose of this talk, I am talking about relationships where people have committed or agreed to monogamy or exclusivity, and that infidelity often will be a reason or can be a reason why that relationship would not continue. So infidelity is just one example of something that happens in a relationship or can happen in a relationship that could involve deception, lying, betrayal. And at the root of all three of these things, there is a commitment that was broken. If there was not a commitment, then it would be hard to have any three of those things: deception, lying, betrayal. So there's usually a commitment that has been broken. And so that's why I want to begin today by talking about commitment and how we can start to make authentic commitments in our relationships that support accountability. So one of the things that you'll notice in a relationship when you have weak commitments or you don't have commitments at all is that, number one, you've never had a conversation about what you agree to or what you will commit to or what you will be accountable to, what you want in the relationship. That conversation has never happened, or it's happened kind of vaguely, you know, maybe what you wanted in the past or what you would vaguely like in the future, but it has never been a specific conversation. This is what I want for this relationship. This is what I would like or expect of you as my partner. So number one, the conversation or the commitment has never occurred or has not been communicated clearly. Number two, the second thing that you'll notice in a relationship that has a faulty or non-existent commitment is that you notice that somebody in the relationship is continuing to say something, but their words seem like they are falling on deaf ears, meaning that somebody in the relationship is experiencing that they are constantly repeating themselves, saying the thing that they want to happen, that they want their partner to do, and they're just saying it over and over again. And usually when that's happening, you're saying something over and over again because the thing that you want to happen is not happening. So that's the second sign of a faulty or a non-existent commitment. And the second thing that we have, or the third thing that we have when we don't have a commitment or a clear commitment, is that there's white lies or just bold-faced lies happening in the relationship. And the bold-faced lies are easy to catch because you know them when you see them. They're pretty obvious. But a white lie is sometimes a lie. It could be true, like it's a partial truth, but it's either a lie of omission or it's a lie in the fact that it stated the truth but not the whole truth. So that's another example of what we'll see in a relationship where there is not a commitment or there is a weak commitment or a faulty commitment. And so one of the things that I'm going to focus on in this chat today is about how we can begin to strengthen our commitments so that we can make commitments that are going to be ones that are irresistible to commit to and to be accountable for ourselves individually as well as in our relationship. So number one, if you are noticing yourself repeating yourself, you're saying the same thing over and over again, you're wanting somebody to change, you're probably going into the realm of blaming and complaining. So the thing that I'm going to suggest that you do instead is to stop repeating yourself. And I'm going to use the words of Reverend Sylvia Sumter from her sermon a couple weeks ago. Stop repeating yourself and start resolving the issue that is underneath that behavior. So behavior is the last part of manifestation in someone's character. But underneath behavior, we have thoughts and we have emotion. So somebody is participating or doing a behavior or an action that is hurtful or that you don't like, you need to stop repeating yourself and complaining about that behavior and start resolving the underlying mental and emotional issue that is causing that person to act that way. Number one. Number two, the idea is that when we have this idea of white lies, or somebody not telling the truth or the whole truth or telling a partial truth, we often have that the person that is withholding the information thinks that they're withholding the information for a reason. And often that reason is because they are afraid of the reaction. And so if you are a person that wants your partner to be more forthcoming, then yes, there's some part of the partner who is, if a person's being dishonest, that is in their own responsibility to be a more honest person. But it is the part of the receiver of that information to create a safe space for that person to share. So if your partner, you want your partner to be more honest with you, but you are creating an environment that is hostile, your partner is not going to want to share that information in a hostile environment. So if you want your partner to share, then you have to create an environment that's safe for that sharing by being able to, you yourself, commit to how you're going to respond to that information. If that information is what you don't want, or if that information is hurtful, or if that information hurts your feelings, you, the person receiving that information, has to commit to how you're going to respond to that information. And then I also want to just take a little side note to acknowledge that in cases where there has been infidelity, it is actually necessary for the person who has been cheated on to be able to engage in almost like a round of like rapid fire questioning. That's a part of the healing process for the person who is cheated on to be able to ask questions about what happened and why and when and who, and that is actually a part of the healing. So I just wanted to recognize that sometimes this need for information has a place and a necessary place in the healing of coming back specifically from, or healing specifically from infidelity. And then the last part that I will say about a solution to be able to build secure and accountability in our security and accountability in our commitments is to be able to understand that, when we get married, we make commitments. Sometimes those commitments were not ones we created, they were ones that were created for us. So even though those are created for those that get married, it's important for any persons that are in an intimate relationship to develop agreements. And like I said, that those agreements need to be spoken. They need to be not just commitments or what I expect or what I want for us as partners, but there also has to be an intention that backs that commitment up. So you cannot commit to something to do for someone else or to do for your relationship that you do not believe inherently serves you as an individual. So that's one of the biggest things that I say makes us misaligned in our commitments, is that we are not supporting our commitments with intention. So intentional living is one of the biggest tools that I teach couples and that I'll be doing in my workshop coming up this weekend. And some of you that are watching are going to be joining me, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. So again, inbox me, private message me if you have any questions. Let me know how these practices go and what you think of them, and I will look forward to seeing you soon.